Hey.
Oh, Mr. Andy Moog in the house.
Good afternoon.
How's it going, Andy?
All right. How are you?
Oh, we're doing super well now that you're here. All the stress is gone. I hate all this technology stuff.
Listen, you don't know how hard it is. I'm here on my own trying to figure this out. So bear with me as I get my shot set up. I'm not sure how you want it.
Oh, that's perfect. As long as we can hear you and that we can see you, that makes everybody happy. Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Moog's in the house. What an honor today for us to have you and just to spend a few, minutes with you chit-chatting about goalie mask. And
right.
what a privilege.
Okay. Good to see you guys.
So my name is Andy. This is my wife, Mai, and we have Marie-Ève that's on the side trying to work the technical side as well.
I know. I'm trying to do the same. Be patient with me.
You know what I should have done, Andy? I should have sent you a tripod.
Yeah, right.
Right? So while you try to set the phone down, we're going to wait to see if you're able to get a stable stand.
Okay. I thought I had
you have all the mask in front of you. That's cool.
I thought I had it a minute ago. Just bear with me.
You can take all the time that you want, Andy.
All right.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, you can read some comments while we're waiting.
Joel
Sure.
says, introduce the puppy.
Yeah, well, Herky and Milton, we share. I share the office with Mai, and she has a dog accessories company. So sometimes you might hear barking during the live guide, and that's our daily reality. It's Herky,
Right.
Milton, and Romeo, and they're all hiding somewhere right now. Where's Herky, Milton?
Brad says,
Oh, that's pretty close.
Off Southeast School every year in Penticton, BC.
I didn't understand. Okay, Andy, you have your setup ready? Looking good. Good job. So, Andy, what we're going to do today is we're just going to chit-chat a little bit about some of the most iconic goalie masks that you've had throughout your career.
Okay.
And you have a few masks in front of you that I don't know if you autographed or not, but if you didn't, then we're gonna have you autograph them in front of all of our friends here at the Goalie Mask family group members. And we're just gonna go through some stuff for fun.
Sure, I'm willing.
Awesome. So Andy, I gotta start off by asking you, because in the world of collectors, the game-worn masks are the most precious items that one could have in their collection. Can I ask you, did you keep all of your game-worn masks, or did you sell them off or auction them off here and there?
Well, you can appreciate when I got my first Harrison mask, 1986, I believe, was the first year I wore it. Up until that time, I was a combo guy, helmet and mask guy.
Yep.
And just taking way too much abuse through a course of a season with those. So switched to this, and the Oilers provided me with this, and that's how it started. And the year was 87, and I joined the national team for the Calgary Olympics, and didn't even think twice about it. We just painted over that Oiler mask with the Canadian goalie mask. So that Oiler mask is actually under the Canadian paint job that I wore during the 88 Olympics, but as hockey rules and Olympic rules applied, we weren't allowed to wear those masks. So I had to go back to a combo with an iTech visor, and it freaked the heck out of the iTech people because they screamed at me because it wasn't approved for goalies.
Was that the combo with the like sort of the clear grill?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that looks so dangerous. I think you're the only goalie that I've seen with pictures wearing a mask like that. Did you feel like you were unsafe on the ice or something?
I was scared to death. I was really scared.
Oh my God, eh?
The iTech people told me that you can't wear that. It's not approved for, any sort of puck. So I think the Olympic people and the IIHF people understood during that Olympics, because all the goalies were wearing something else, and then during the games they wore the approved version. So I think they understood at that point maybe there's something more that we could do. So yeah, unfortunately that mask is in my home in British Columbia, and it has the Canadian logos painted on top of the Oiler logo. So that mask is, I guess, twofold.
Wow.
Canada,
So basically, when you switched from the combo mask, you went onto this model, right, with the Oilers?
Exactly. Well, I had that originally in '86, and then when I
Okay.
joined the national program, we never thought about getting another mask. We never even considered it. We just said, well, let's just paint this one, and that's what we
No
did.
way. So this artwork here for the Team Canada '87
There it is.
Olympics
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what you painted over your original Oilers mask.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God! Wow, that is crazy.
That was the era. That was the time. I mean, it was no big deal. And,
No way.
yeah.
So right now, is this mask with the original Team Canada painting still, or did you ever paint it back with the Oilers colors?
Nope, that has still got Team Canada, and it's one of, I guess maybe I've got 3 masks. I've kept 3 masks over the years, and that's one of the 3 that I've kept. And typically what I would do when I got a new mask was I would always make sure that the equipment trainer got the old mask. That was sort of my acknowledgement of them and all the work they do. And I couldn't care what they did with it, but I thought it was a nice gift for all their extra service. They took care of the goalie so well.
So all the old masks, the sticks, the pads, you handed them to the people that took care of you.
The trainers, yep. And they gave them to their friends, their kids, whatever they wanted to do with them. It was entirely
amazing. Yeah, and let's talk about the artwork a little bit on each mask. So when you switch from the combo onto this one, did you have a say at all? Did you have an artistic say, and did you say like I want some, some oil drops here, or did you leave it completely to the hands of the artist?
Yeah, that was my first Harrison mask, and that was Greg Harrison's artistic interpretation of what it should be. And so he did the artwork and he sent it out. Both Grant and I met him in the bowels of Old Maple Leaf Gardens one afternoon after practice, and he molded us both. And that was the first time and the last time we ever saw him. Then the mask came shipped, and we collected them up and wore them. And that was our first experience with Greg Harrison. And we didn't, at least in my case, I didn't have any input on the design. We were sort of left it up to the artist to figure out what he'd like to do.
And Greg Harrison, what an amazing artist! Like the amount of classic masks that he came out with. I'm sure it has a lot to do with your playing as well. It's you, the goalie, that makes it great, but he really brings a touch of personality to the way that you goal and to the whole image of you as a goalie altogether.
Right. So Greg painted over that that original Oiler mask. He was the one that painted it over and made it Team Canada. That was his.
So
work.
this one was it was Craig Harrison that decided on the artwork as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
very cool.
So as that year unfolded, we finished the Olympics in Calgary, and the Oilers talked to us after the Olympics, and they said, would you like to come back? And I said, no, I think it's time to move on. I'd like to be moved. So they said, okay, we'll let you know. And that was no ill feelings, move on. And they called my agent and said, it looks like we have something done in Pittsburgh. It was the trade deadline in February of that 1988 year. It looks like we have something done with Pittsburgh. I'll call you in a couple hours and let you know. So my agent calls me, and then the phone rings, and very coincidentally, the Penguins happened to be playing Calgary that trade deadline. And Paul had already been moved to Pittsburgh, and he called me and he said, come on down after the game. I'll introduce you to your new teammates. So I said, wow, this is going to happen. So I hung up the phone. I called Greg and I said, it looks like it's going to be Pittsburgh, Greg. So he said, okay, I'll start painting the mask. About 3 hours later, I get a call from my agent and he says, you've been traded to the Bruins. And so I said, oh, okay, great. I hung up the phone. First thing I did was call Greg, and I said, wait, Greg, it's the Bruins. He says, oh, I can make that work too. So
it's a good thing it's the same color scheme, right?
That original, what do you call that, Starburst or whatever, that had Penguins on it up there, and then he flipped them over to Bruins. Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was very accommodating at that point.
So I think that this is when I really started watching you as a goalie, when you started playing with the Bruins and you just kept beating the Habs. We're in Montreal. We're the Montreal-based company. And I was just doing some research yesterday, a little bit beforehand. and I realized your name was Hab Killer. So I wish you were traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins instead of the Bruins.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I returned the favor that last year in '98 when Montreal beat Pittsburgh in the first round. So I got Pittsburgh done too.
Now, Andy, between you and me, I think your time with the Bruins, you had the most iconic Bruins mask that has ever been worn throughout the history of the Bruins. It would be between you, Gary Cheevers, which we have one here.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would say Tuukka Rask, but Tuukka Rask is a lot inspired by your mask. I think the Bruins mask that you have with the open bear mouth, the open Bruin mouth, is one of the most iconic and most recognizable goalie masks in the history of the Bruins. What's your take on that mask?
Well, at that point there, I guess that was maybe 1990 or 91. I'm not exactly sure of the year, but I met a young man that lived in our suburbs in Boston, and I met him because he had a business. He put a plow on his truck in the winter, and he plowed people's driveways. So we had a long driveway, and we got him to help us out with our driveway, and then in the spring came around, he says, well, I have a crew and we do lawn service too. I said, great, let's do it. So one day he's finishing up the lawn service, and I go to say hello to Dom. His name was Dom, and I say, Dom, that's a great job. How's it going? And he said, oh, pretty good. You know, he didn't say very much. He's a very quiet guy. He says, just out of the blue, he says, you know, I make masks, right?
Really?
You what? You make masks? Yeah, I make goalie masks. He says, well, I'd like to see one time. So he reaches in his truck and he's got one right there. And he says,
I think he was ready for you.
I do this. Yeah, I do this for a hobby. I'd like to do it for a living, but he said, I do this for a hobby. And his name was Dom Malirba.
Wow.
And I said, well, tell me what you got. And he had some new technologies. He had ability to make the mask lighter, and the demands on Greg were so great that it was very hard to get a product out of Greg at that point. People were just recognized him as the leader in the industry, and it was just hard to get a mask. So I said, well, let's go. Let's try it. And Dom made me. And then I said, Dom, do you have an artist to do masks? He says, yeah, I do that too. So Dom is the one that came up with the bear mask, and he was the one that presented it. And it was a lot of fun to be involved in it, as I'd never been involved with Greg. But it was a lot of fun to be involved with Dom and watch his artistry take over the project, and that's how we got to the bear mask.
So did you have that idea already in mind that you wanted an open mouth with a Bruin, or was that presented to you?
I think Dom finessed me a little bit. I think that's where he wanted to go with it. It wouldn't have been my version of a mask typically. I would have been on the more conservative side.
Yeah.
But his imagination. And he finessed me a little bit, and obviously the mask was outstanding artwork and outstanding design.
Turned out to be a withstanding test of time kind of mask, right? Like up to this day, we still have collectors all the time saying like, oh, I want the Andy Moog mask, the Bruins mask with the open mouth. Between you and me, can you tell me which one of the two Bruins masks you favored, or which one do you prefer? Because a lot of the old school Bruins collectors prefer the mask that you were with the Bruins when you first joined, which was the one that was supposed to be for Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, I think just because of the attention, the accolades it got for the design, I think the bear mask would have been my favorite. But you know, they were both very well recognized, both really admired by a lot of different people. So I love them both, but I think the bear probably would have been my favorite.
The bear, eh?
Yeah.
Nice. And then after that, I think after the Bruins, you got traded to Dallas.
Dallas, yeah.
And then there was a spin done on the famous open Bruin mask.
Yeah.
And it became more of a golden color, which this is one of my favorite masks of yours, personally speaking, from an artistic point of view, because I just love the golden colors. It adds depth to it, and then the eyes got some green touches on it to match with the Dallas Stars.
Yeah.
Colors. And then you have the open mouth, but you got added touches of green here, which I just find is a superb touch of color pattern, like the gold and the green together. I think it's marvelous.
Well, we have to credit Dom Malirba for all that again.
Oh, shout out to Dom. What an amazing amazing idea. Was there any other goalies during that time that were wearing open mouth? Maybe Cujo was after you a little bit, or was it during the same time?
I'm not sure of the timing of it all. I know that Eddie Belfour had the Eagle version right about the same time I got the original bear mask in Boston. So right around 1990, 91, that all came to be. A sad story about the Bruin mask.
So here's a question for you. Which one of your peers during that time do you think had a mask that was as cool as yours?
A player in the league at the time?
Yeah.
I was really partial to because it was my color of my junior team and the design of the jerseys and the colors of my junior team were the Washington Capitol masks. Whether it was Don Beaupre.
Don Beaupre had a great one with the Capitol right there.
Yeah, and my Billings Bighorn team in the Western Hockey League had the same jerseys and the same style as the Washington Capitals. So that was always really a cool looking mask to me. And
so this one had kind of the Capitals colors, right? That's probably why you kept it.
Exactly. Yeah, maybe that's it. That could have been it.
Did you keep your mask with the time with the Bruins, Andy?
Well, that's another sad story. The first Stars mask was the painted over bear mask from Boston.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it was a time when people didn't think about multiple masks and redoing. And I was in a bit of a spot. Our owner at the time, a man named Mr. Green's wife, called me in the summer of the year I was traded to Dallas, and said, I'd like to design and paint your mask. And I go, oh, that's way too personal. I thought to myself, that's way too personal. I mean, that's something I need to do in collaboration with somebody. I can't just give that to somebody else. And I told her, I said, the bear is way too important for me. I'm going to paint my first Stars mask the color of the bear in Boston. And she understood. She was fine with it. But unfortunately, at that time, there was no new mask. It was just repainting the other mask. So that bear mask from Dallas is the Bruin mask in my last years in Boston.
No way.
Yeah.
And is that a mask that you still keep in your collection?
I have a nephew that's a former youth hockey goalie who is now a senior goalie, and he proudly displays it in his man cave in Williams Lake, British Columbia.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. That's just where it belongs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then after that, Andy, you had one of the coolest masks in the Dallas history. I call this one the Star of Dallas because it's like the D with a shining kind of burst of light here, and then you got the state of Texas. The colors on this one is just amazing, and then you got the golden stars with the black there. This mask I find is very striking. When you look at it on pictures, it's like, wow, what is he wearing?
Yeah, I forgot about that one. I love that one.
You forgot about this one?
That was one that the trainers got for sure.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And then all your masks, what's cool is that you always have your name in the back there on the bottom.
Yeah, that was a little bit of Dom's interpretation of what should be there. I like what the goalies do now in terms of putting initials, family members, and special people in their lives. I like that little honor to family or special people.
And then, Andy, I don't have this mask in front of you, in front of me. It's in front of you right now. After your time with the Dallas Stars, you came with the Canadiens, and this is when I really watch you a lot. You have a mask there that we sent to you to sign.
Yeah.
Which, let's say, it's very particular as a design. Who came up with that design?
Well, we had a debate with Dom about Montreal being an original six franchise and conservative in nature and didn't really get off the rails very often in terms of the masks that had come along previously. So I said, in my view, it's got to be of a conservative nature. So that I went out on the chin with the large CH there. And then he said, I want to do little CHs all over the mask that look like bubbles. And I said, well, why do you like that? And he says, well, I haven't done it in terms of a bunch of different individual logos, and I think that's the place to do it. If you want conservative, we can do that, but at the same time, we're going to add all these bubbles of CH. And I think when it set it off with the excuse me, the blue face mask,
blue
the blue
glow?
part. I mean, it was unbelievable how it presented itself. It's really stunning.
It really is. The blue I find is the missing touch right now on that shell because we don't want to ship it too heavy. But the blue really brings the mask together.
Yeah.
And it's a mask that I find looks a little bit like a kid's pajama, but I can't stop looking at it because it's so.
I've heard that for sure. Yeah, that's great.
And I want that mask. I think we're gonna keep that one in our collection afterwards.
That's great. Again, I had 2 of those, and I've got one, and the other went to. I saw him on the ice the other night. As a matter of fact, trainer for Montreal, still there. Oh gosh, I forgot his name. He's been there for 30 plus years. Been there since the 80s, and I gave it to him. I said, "This is."
Oh, really? Who was it? A goalie trainer or?
No, just equipment trainer on the team. He's been there from day one, as long as I can remember. He was. Oh God, I'm so embarrassed. I can't remember.
I always remember that magazine cover that you had with half of that mask and half of you smiling on Le Canadien. I think it's one of the coolest magazine covers that Le Canadien ever put out.
Yeah, that was Marty Brodeur's father that came up with that shot, I believe.
Oh, really?
As he was
I forgot his name, but yeah, wow.
He was still involved. Dennis, was it Dennis Brodeur?
Dennis Brodeur.
Still involved in producing photos and artwork and images for the Canadiens at that time.
Is it Pierre Gervais that received the other mask?
Gerv, yeah, that's who it is. Pierre Gervais.
Oh yeah, he's a legend here.
I was on Gerv, but I couldn't get the rest of the name. Yeah, Pierre Gervais. That's it.
Yeah, he's one of the best in the league for whatever he does. Definitely.
Yeah,
so he deserves your Canadiens mask for sure.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and did you sign the masks that are already on the table right now?
I haven't signed anything in terms of the mask. I've signed the other things, but I haven't signed the mask yet.
Very cool. So if you want to sign them, you can go ahead and sign them. We indicated what color paint pen to use, and one of them, if you see there's some special fans of yours, some big fans that ask for special inscriptions.
Okay.
If you see that, then make sure that you give the inscription to them, and they'll be super appreciative. We have all of our goalie mask family watching here. So there you guys have it. It's Andy Moog signing some of the most iconic masks of his career live. This is some epic stuff.
So this Bruin mask is to Mikey.
To Mikey, there you go. Mikey, if you're watching, enjoy, my man. It's a very special day. So Andy, while you're signing the mask, we'll just read out if there's any comments or questions. We can read that out just so everybody can participate. Okay. Let's not go back to sad Andy stories.
Is it you sad?
I don't know. So Andy, if you're thinking about the modern day NHL goalies, which goalie would you say has a mask that is as cool or that could rival how cool your masks were?
Well, we couldn't start the conversation without Tuukka Rask mask there in Boston. That for sure. That's it's iconic.
Right.
I spent some time with Mike Smith as a young player as he developed in the Dallas Stars organization. So his little tribute mask of the combo that I had in Edmonton to start was kind of cool. I like that one this year.
It's pretty cool, definitely. I think it's in matte, and then it has like the ears sticking out on the side.
Yeah, something like that. With the Oilers used to put little round decal Oiler logos on the top of the helmet, so they were incorporated as well. It was pretty cool. I like that one too.
What do you prefer to play with? Did you prefer the combo mask, or did you prefer the more modern cat eye grill mask?
Yeah, the cat eye grill mask. It was just a matter of necessity. We were getting hurt too much. We were getting hurt. Those helmets were not designed to take an impact of a puck.
Right.
And as those helmets sat on your face, it replicated. Honestly, it replicated the old catcher's mask, where catchers wanted the ball to hit them in the mask and bounce back into play. They want to keep it in front of them. Well, that did not work for hockey pucks. Those pucks would hit you and set you back, and you know, they had edges to them and they busted up the helmets, and you ended up with some pretty nasty cuts and pretty big headaches over that. So the design of the mask that let the puck deflect away, it was instantly the headshots that I experienced, with a few exceptions over the last 12 years. I mean, they just disappeared. You didn't get those kind of stingers anymore. So, you know, just like the evolution of the position, the equipment just made the game so much better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or else it wouldn't allow the goalie just to go down, because it would be way too dangerous for you to go down and get a puck to the head and
Yeah.
be out for the season, right?
You think about the fellas that played before the masks, their whole style, their whole technique was based on getting their head out of the way. So
Yeah, and just deviating the pucks away.
check, stacking the pads and throwing your pads at it, keeping your head out of the way, that was all built out of necessity. They had to survive. And once the equipment evolved, that was the change of the game. I mean, early in my career, as I began, I was a limb-based goalie. I had to take all the pucks up high with my hands, because the arm and chest stuff hadn't evolved to allow you to throw your shoulder into a puck. You'd end up with pretty big bruises, possibly injured. You just couldn't do it in order to survive. So as the equipment evolved, including the mask, then the position changed and the style changed.
It definitely takes some sort of crazy person to want to play net with that kind of equipment on.
I don't know. I was watching some of these big body checks and all these collisions in the NHL this Stanley Cup year. I think I was pretty smart to stay in the net and stay away from all that stuff.
Right. And did you ever play with the vintage mask?
I was a vintage player until, what was it, September or October of 1972. So I would have been the end of my Pee-wees, or maybe the first year of Bantam players, and getting hit in the head with that thing was no fun either. And then Vladislav Tretiak came to Canada for the 72 Summit Series, and he had helmet and cage, and that was it. The rest of cage after that.
Well, it's a good thing that it evolved to whatever it have now, and then that's what allows us to have all this nice artwork too, because those combo cages matches are pretty boring to watch.
Yeah, fair enough.
Andy, we don't want to keep you for too long. I just want to personally thank you so much for your time, and just thank you for being here for us and for the fans. And we grew up idolizing you. We love the mask that you wore, that we have posters of you in our rooms, and just for you to take the time out of your day to sit here with us and just to chit chat about stuff, it means so much to us, Andy.
Well, I appreciate it. It was lots of fun, and great work on these masks. They're spectacular. Somebody will be very happy.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Andy Moog. Is there any questions that we want to wrap it up with? And
what was the reason you decided to move on from the Oilers?
oh, yeah, I said that already during the interview. Yeah.
What was it like to play with Grant?
Grandpure, one of our good friends, there was a question from somebody that says, what was it like playing with Grandpure?
Well, you can appreciate we were both barely in our 20s. Grant was just turned 20 and I was 21 when we first came together. So we got to know each other as kids, basically. That's how we grew up. And
Wow.
at the time, we had somebody involved in the organization that helped goalies. Ron Lowe was there as our veteran goaltender, but Ron was doing his job and trying to earn his spot and keep his spot on the team. So we didn't expect that. So we leaned on each other a lot. We vented to each other our frustrations, our concerns, everything that we needed to get out of our system in order to play. We did it with each other on a regular basis. And, you know, those were invaluable times. I think it evolved me as a player. I needed a push, and Grant was the push, because it was hard to get in the net with Grant as a partner.
And you guys definitely made one of the greatest goalie tandem in the history of the NHL, not in the history of the Edmonton Oilers. So it shows that you guys worked well together, definitely.
Yeah. We were very competitive, and we wanted the net, but there was the bond that we had and the friendship that we had was far too important to damage just for the sake of getting another start. So we kept the competition as friendly and as open as we could, but at the same time, we didn't want to damage our friendships that we developed.
Competition's competition, right? You guys both want to be number one, and that's the attitude that you got to have as a goalie.
Yeah, and that's teammates wanted it. The teammates wanted us to push each other. They wanted us to go to another level in terms of play, and it created an environment around our group. At that time, you know, we were all young. We all needed that kind of support and that kind of camaraderie, and those are the sorts of things that were available to us, and it helped us grow as players and people as well. We became better people and better pros as our careers went along.
And we just have a last question. We'll take one last question, Andy, and then we'll wrap it up.
How did it feel winning the Stanley Cup?
Oh. How does it feel winning a Stanley Cup?
Stanley Cup for me was it was our second time back. We lost humbly to the New York Islanders in '83, and we didn't show our best stuff, and we didn't play our best. And when '84 came around and we were back in the final against the Islanders, it was a different team. It was a more focused, more driven team, and clearly had one goal in mind. And Grant was on top of his game. He was just playing outstanding, and I didn't expect to be in the net. And he got injured in the second game, and I came in the last 3 games and played the way I expected to play the previous year. And that was very satisfying to realize that I could play up to my abilities in those moments. And I felt like
the pressure must have been tremendous. You getting put in during the finals. I mean, everybody's just, all the pressure's right on you, right? So
I think the key for me was coaches and the team. It wasn't even a bump in the road. Oh, Andy's playing now. That's all they really let me believe that it was. And from that standpoint, it was just an unbelievably charged, energized team I was playing behind, and they didn't lose a beat or change a thing. When I got in there, it was like, oh, things are normal. Let's go. And that's the way I felt too. Okay, another game. Let's go. And it really gave me a boost of confidence to play in that situation. And they deflected or absorbed all the pressure, and I just got to play.
Awesome. Well, Andy, we're going to wrap it up on that great note. Andy Moog, 3-time Stanley Cup champion. Thank you so much once again for taking the time to sign some masks for us collectors. And for all of us mortals that are just admiring you, now we can have a little piece of Andy Moog in our man caves, staring down at us. And Andy, you know, if ever you wanted to take some paint off of some masks, I want to show you something real fast, okay? Real fast. Okay. So here we have Doug Favell's original mask, which was the first ever painted mask in the history of the NHL. And at one point, it was stolen from the Hall of Fame.
You're kidding?
And somebody painted a clown design on top of it.
Oh my God.
And through a process, there was some artists who were able to like scratch off the paint and get back to the original design underneath there.
Yeah.
So if ever you wanted to rediscover some of the artwork that's hidden behind beneath your mask, it's possible.
Yeah. There's hope for me, you're saying.
But this mask is super. Oh, this mask is super nice. So I wouldn't remove the paintwork from that one.
I like them both. That's tough. That's a tough call.
That's a tough call. Yeah, let's leave it as it is.
All right.
Andy, thank you so much for your time. It was great speaking to you today.
Enjoyed it. Congratulations.
Have a great one.
They're beautiful. Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. You can press. There you got it, guys. What a great time we had with Andy Moog. So many insightful stories, so many secrets of his goalie mask shared today that we had no idea that even was the situation. Like I didn't know that his original mask was painted over. So there you guys go. Andy Moog sharing some secrets. And once again, Andre couldn't make it, but I want to thank Andre Lassard from Hero Sports Marketing for allowing us to have this special occasion and special moments with Andy Moog today. Hopefully we'll have more goalies on later on. Grant, if you're watching, we want you next. And guys, thank you for tuning in. All of the Andy Moog autograph masks are available on goaliemaskcollector.com. You just have to go on the Andy Moog collection, and then you will see all the possible masks there that we have
available. So once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Have a great one.